I'm a born Jamaican. I grow in Jamaica. I went to school in Jamaica. I studied my law finals in Jamaica. I've only ever worked in Jamaica.
That's right.
And the truth of the matter is that my parents were also servants of the people. My father came to Jamaica from the UK in 1953, and he never left. He established the Mona Rehab Center, which is now named after him after his death in 1996, which is the only facility of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean for persons with disabilities. And I should mention, by the way, my own personal family, my wife and my youth them. My wife is a beautiful empress. Me and my brethren Natty, a par, and you know, Mr. Tuna, he knew her first actually, and she and a friend, and we said we were going on a date. And then they said, all right, they will come with me, you know. And we end up at Turntable Club off the Red Hills Road, yeah. And I want to tell you, I see her the kind of like, although she was really more with him and me with the next one, I really, she really liked. So happened that night, them had a little dance competition. And we see her move and we say, yeah, she can dance good enough. So me never really rate myself as a dancer. But we said, I'm going to try to do a thing, because most of the people in there were kind of the old, you know, wasn't it? Yeah. So, man, I dance and we end up a winner prize. Yeah. Dinner for two at Paul's 104 on Harbour Street. Yeah. So we said, all right. And a couple of weeks later now, me and she go down there and we had our lunch and thing, and one thing lead to another, you know. And here we are, you know. So, yeah. And you know, we have 3 beautiful kids, and yeah, so I don't really feel like I feel any way about who I am. A person don't choose who they are, you know. You're born to who you are, right? What you choose is how you live your life. Right? The choices that you make in life, and how you deal with people, and where your heart there. Yeah. So, me alright.
I was born in my husband's constituency. I think I was actually born at the hospital, Andrews Memorial Hospital it was. Yeah, at the time. But grew up at a very early age in Ensom City, and went to Ensom City all age and then on to St. Catherine High School. I remember even being at Ensom City all age, being a very industrious little child. My parents would send me to school, they would give me my lunch money, but I would be buying police buttons and selling them to get extra money from early days. So I remember being at St. Catherine High School and leaving school, walking from St. John's Road to Spanish Town. I did it often. I walked from Ensom City to St. Catherine High to save money again. Even though I got my lunch money and I got my taxi fare, I always felt that other than paying my school fee and giving me my uniform and my books, I should be able to do all the other little things. If I need geometry set, if they're doing something for sports day, I should be able to chip in. My dad worked in a factory, zinc manufacturing factory it was. He was a supervisor there. I think the factory closed down. He was made redundant and he took his savings and went into the taxi business. So he had a bus and taxi from time to time. I would walk to Spanish Town and go and meet my mother and help her to sell. She would sell shoes and clothing, and I had no problem. I remember many times my classmates would pass and sometimes they would see me at school and say, Juliet, you don't feel ashamed to go help your mother sell? And no, I was never ashamed. I always felt this is what is sending me to school. My mom and my dad earn an honest living, and I thought it was an excellent value to instill in me as a child, and I pitched in and made sure I sell anytime I could, once school was out. If it was Christmas, I would be onto Falmouth. I love to check a lot of money. So when they went to Falmouth, I found that the sales was very good. I was collecting and collecting and selling, and I found that very exciting, that my parents were able to earn in this way. My mom sort of beat it into my head since early days. Look, we are not wealthy, and the way you're gonna achieve in life is to have a good education. That's really the legacy I'm passing on to you. Being educated and being able to take care of yourself. So for me, growing up as a child, I actually never had a sense of any disparity or inequity in how women and men function, because my parents functioned in a way where my mother was a strong woman and giving in equal ways to the partnership of taking care of and raising the family and funding our lifestyle. Myself and Andrew went to St. Catherine High School together, but I didn't like him in high school. I thought that he was just enough. He was into everything. I remember the very first Valentine's Day special that was put on at the school. Andrew organized it. He conceptualized it and he organized the Valentine's event. And I was like, who is that guy? Everything is him. I remember he was valedictorian, and I just continued to almost envy him and said, this guy is just so into everything. And I remember when he was doing his valedictory speech, I don't think I've ever told him, when he kept saying education. And I'm like, it's education. so I remember Andrew well. I was very impressed with the way he was as a young man. He was helping his mother to build her house, and I'd pass and see him up on top of the house, helping the man who was doing the grill work, the masonry, and I was like, yeah, that guy not bad at all. Right? But I remember at school thinking that he was just so enough. Everything was just this Andrew. Then he wasn't my friend. So I went to Holness Girls, as I told you, for sixth form, and when it came around now to the ball at sixth form, I didn't have a date. And someone said to me, what about Andrew, the guy down the road? And I was like, not so bad. I could make him go on with me. And I said to Andrew, do you want to accompany me to my sixth form ball? I think he had a friend, Garfield, who liked me at the time. I don't know if he knew, but Andrew said yes. And at the time, as I tell you, very naive, very sheltered. I was chaperone. My uncle took us to the ball, drove us to the ball, and stayed with us at the ball and took us back home. So I had no opportunity for Andrew to get on with any hanky-panky at all. But that summer was the start of our relationship. I remember after sixth form, we spent the entire summer together. Like every waking moment, we stayed together until we fell asleep. We are very boring people, you know, so we decided we were gonna get married in 7 years. There are not many things I found that I was adamant about in a relationship, but some things I was very principled about. So I would never have a child unless I am married. And I remember saying that we need to be able to buy a home first, need to get married, and then we can think about having children. I remember we got married, 1997. We planned, I don't even know, we sat down, we talked about it. I think we decided to have our wedding in between our birthdays. I'm born on the 16th of July, he's born on the 22nd, and we chose the Sunday in between our birthdays. We could not afford a lot, so we didn't have a wedding planner, and we could not afford a big hotel. I remember we rented Villa Ranai at the time, and we had a regular chef that you would normally have in your community come and cook up the curry goat and the rice and peas at Villa Ranai. And there we were married. Everybody came, like we invited all the relatives that we knew lived very far away because they would not be able to come to the wedding. They live in the UK, they live in America and Canada, but we didn't want anybody to say that we'd never invite them. So after trying to keep the wedding to 50, And my parents started to tell me who and who not invited, and his parents started to say who and who not invited. We said, all right, here's the strategy. Send all of them invitation because they're not coming. We ended up, instead of having a wedding of 50, with a wedding of 250 people, because everybody turned up from all over and our mouth was just dropping. My father didn't think it funny. I told him that we should have actually run it like a fish fry, where we give them an invitation at a cost and you pay to come to the wedding. Because, all right, but we enjoyed it. It was wonderful, not very expensive, and right up our street. Now that you're serving, you don't end up having as much time. And for Andrew, he spends his time with the boys, riding the bike. I will ride, but I don't always go with them. It's good to have some father-son time, and sometimes they're out in the hills. I leave them to their time and space. It's always a challenge. People live their lives differently. People have different types of families, but I continue to appreciate the value in having been raised by my mother and father. I think it has actually made a difference in who I am, and being blessed to have Andrew around as a father, particularly having to raise boys. It is really important. I love sitting and listening to him, coaching and counseling and passing on life skills. And I think their life would not be as fulfilled, would not be as fulsome if they didn't have the benefit of having their father around and his involvement.